This code fragment declares a class that's a node, and it has two parameters. It has entry, which is a double, and it has next, which is a node pointer. If you look at this structure, it can be represented as two memory blocks stacked on top of each other, one with the entry block and the next one which is the next block. So this is what this structure would look like. If you look at the code, there is a list class, and inside the list class there's a private variable called first. We use the underscore here to show that it points to a value. It is a node pointer. In memory, you can think of it as first is the name of the node pointer, and it points to this address in memory. And you could think of that 0xFF as a memory location, as an address of a memory location. That would also be inside the box for first. But this is what you have set up originally as you come in to start looking at the code fragment we're about to look at. One item of note is notice how on the last node there's a little circle and then next. This is just to illustrate that next is a node pointer and it points to another address in memory. This will become very important to us as we look at our code fragment. Here is our code fragment. It has 8 lines of code that we're going to refer to. And so if we talk about lines, we can talk about line 1, line 2, line 3. Some of the reserved words are highlighted in colors. Let's go. So remember our initial condition, which was we have first, which is a node pointer, pointing to a place in memory. And now look at line 1 of our code. Line 1 of our code says make a node pointer called rev and put null inside of it. Now let's move on to line 2. Line 2 says take the value it's in first and put it into PTR. Now the pointer first and PTR of the pointer both point at the same place. Let's add some more nodes and move on to line 3. So look at the value inside a pointer. Is it pointing to null? If it's not, then we're going to enter this while loop until pointer points to null. Now let's move into the while loop and look at line 4. Line 4 says take the value that's in PTR and put it into node temp. This creates a new pointer called temp, which also points at the first node. Let's move on to line 5. Line 5 says take a look at what PTR's next member is and put that into PTR. This will change PTR's pointer and effectively make PTR move to the next node. Notice in line 5 how PTR equal PTR next makes PTR walk down the list. Let's move on now to line 6. Here it says take the value that's in REV or rev, which is null, and put it into temps next. Notice when null goes into temps next, it severs the tie that the first node has with the second node. Let's move on now to line 7. Notice by taking temp's value and putting it into rev, we make rev now point at the first node. It's time to start our while loop again. What is pointer pointing at? Is it pointing at null? No, it's not. Let's head into the while loop. So look at the value that's in PTR. Let's put that into the temp node. That will effectively move temp over to where PTR is. Okay, let's move on to line 5. Remember what PTR equals PTR next does? It walks PTR down the line. Let's go walking PTR. Now let's move to line 6. Let's see what line 6 says. It says take the value that's in rev or REV and put it into temps next. So This will effectively make the second node point at the first node. Let's now move on to line 7. Line 7 says take the value in temp and put it into REV, so effectively moving REV to where temp is. Alright, let's head back up to the top of the while loop and check our condition. Is PTR pointing to null? Nope, it isn't. Well, let's head back into our while loop. Look at line 4. Take the value that's in PTR and put it into temp. This will in effect move temp to the end of the list where PTR is. Let's head to our next line. We know what this does. It walks PTR down the list. But this time, the next member of PTR doesn't point to another node. It takes on the value of null. Alright, let's move to line 6. Line 6 takes the value in rev and puts it into temp next. It's effectively going to make the last node point to the middle node. Now let's move to line 7. It says take the value inside of temp and put it into rev, which will effectively move rev to the end of the list. Now we're back at the top of our while loop. Is pointer's value null? Oh, wait a minute. Yes, it is. We're out of the while loop. We now jump down to line 8. At line 8, it says take the value it's in rev, which is pointing at the last node, and put it into first. This will effectively move first to the end of our list, or if you want to think of it another way, the beginning of the list going the other way, as there is no real direction. Thank you for watching. This was meant to be an explanatory way of understanding linked lists a bit better in a graphical manner. What follows is the list at a faster rate, and then even a faster rate and a faster rate. If you want to stay tuned, you might find it interesting. Thank you for your time.